Hello, hello. We are back with the final series of the day. Once again, my name is Frater, and with me in the casting booth is a Turbo. Turbo, the wait was long, but we're finally here. The matchup is ready. It's UT Arlington going up against University of Hawaii. What do you think?
Going into this one, we're going to take a peek at the standings, and I think this is going to start to tell the story a little bit. Arlington, they're one of the newer teams as far as Valorant. They really came alive this split once we had the full EGF season. They didn't compete in the old Power Series, but once they showed up, they were here to play. 7-2, currently standing. They had some insane runs. If I'm not mistaken, their NAU series, they only dropped 7 total rounds across it. And for Hawaii, they've had other similar results against the bottom of the table, right? They went up against U Idaho. They had a 13-1 game. They had a 13, I want to say 7 games. So still pretty good looks. A very similar scoreline when you look across the series to when UTA beat NAU. But UTA did it in such a calculated and convincing way. This is a team that knows their set pieces. They play aggressively. And they also have a duelist in Rain from pretty positive it's Rain, who is absolutely insane. This guy will pick up Neon, will pick up Phoenix, and he will crush it. Whereas on the other side for Hawaii, they don't have as much of those dedicated real playmakers besides on Peak, who I'm expecting we're going to see on Jet most of the time. So I think it's going to be a question of which duelist really steps up, and is Hawaii ready for the level of precision that UTA can put together? Because this Hawaii team, they're strong, but sometimes they can falter when really matched up against an opponent who can take that kind of energy. And I'm really looking towards their matchup last week against NAU, where on Ascent, NAU absolutely crushed it that third map. So UTA beating NAU beating Hawaii, you have to think that this is leaning towards UTA.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case. I mean, even if you look at the overall standings, beside the second seed spot going up against the 8th seed, it does seem like UT Arlington have the upper hand. Looking at the ranks here, well, that is Immortal 3, Radiance, Immortal 2s, all the way through. So it does seem like UTA have this one in the bag.
They're definitely feeling confident going into this. And one point that I bring up just a little bit is Hawaii does play on average close to triple-digit ping. It doesn't really stop them most of the time because they are incredibly sharp with their team play, but we're going to have to see if that comes into account. We're going to be starting off on Split. That was Hawaii's pick. Moving on to Ascent, which is Arlington's. Makes a lot of sense. They're super strong on it. And then Haven will be our decider. So much more that standard map setup that we're used to. No Fracture, no Lotus, no Pearl. Icebox and Split, I think they are just sort of a toss-up. Which do you feel more comfortable on in the current meta? And looking at this Split matchup, I want to see you, Hawaii, do a couple things that are unexpected. I think that's going to start with what their agent lineup is going to be. Of course, there have been some changes on how you approach this map with the Raze nerfs. Obviously, earlier today, we didn't see that really impact the game with UTK and ST and St. John's, both of them, their respective Razes absolutely popping off in the games that they were picked. So already we're seeing On to Peak lock that in for Hawaii. Makes a lot of sense. Crad as well. That's the main duelist. My mistake. Crad, an absolute monster. Can play Neon, can play Raze, can play Jet, can play Phoenix. You throw a duelist in his hands, he's going to make the difference.
And you did mention that University of Hawaii does not have a dedicated duelist player, so we are expecting On the Peak to be the one to stand up to the occasion here, as we see both of the players taking a raise. Or on the Hawaii side, over on Hawaii, we got a single initiator, we got a Viper, the Sky, the Breach as well, a double initiator setup rather, and on the other side, we got a pretty similar setup as well. So, well, you were really excited about looking at Split at the start of the stream, so finally it's here.
Oh, I love Split. Split's one of my personal favorite maps all the way from back in the beta when it was super unbalanced. I still really liked it. And I like a lot of the little changes that have happened. And of course, with more agents being added, it just enables a lot more diversity. Of course, we're not seeing a ton of diversity between these two teams, but the real question is going to be, is the extra lockdown potential, is the extra defensive capability, that post plant that this KJ on Matcha is going to offer, is that going to be enough to answer Krumba's aggression on this breach and the kinds of set pieces that Hawaii are really good at, especially on this map, right? They're both doing double controllers. They're both going to be able to block maps at Viper, that Astra. Really good at just cutting off a lot of these sight lines. I'm expecting we're going to see a lot of Astra presence mid, just because you can stall a lot of time, make that not so scary of an area to play around. But already Arlington, they want to go to a fast start, leaning towards that A site. And I think that this is good for them. Take something nice and short, try and run it forward, use that aggression to your advantage.
Absolutely. And it seems like almost all the players are looking to push towards the A side except for the Astra, Iger. They're going to push in towards mid, get that flank in early in the game as well. So we shall see how Arlington plays on the offensive side is split. Here we go, round number 1.
Already we're seeing a heavy investment from both teams. Lots of guiding lights getting dropped, and Krad already winning that early duelist matchup, and that's going to be a really big opener. But the thing is, Krad is all alone and is going to have to play bait for a moment, as on the other side, there's already an Arlington member sitting up and setting up on that B side. It's just Da Aloe who's going to have to try and respond or start this retake, do a little bit of damage. Does get spotted out, though, has to retreat towards the rest of the team, but they don't know maybe's here.
Oh, this might just be a countdown. 1, 2, it's maybe looking to get the third one. Doesn't get it and does survive to tell the tale. Here you go, Chester Skin. And we have to having to push through the smoke here. University of Hawaii down to their last 2 players. We got Arlington complete control of sight. Maybe finds one. Vitorium gets one before being taken down, and Galaxy Vortex is gonna take him down. First round goes to UTA.
And right off the bat, there's this heavy investment towards A, but Arlington are keeping their options open. They're letting maybe flank, and they don't have, or they do have a dedicated Sentinel in the KJ, but when you have double controller, one of them tends to act like a Sentinel. In this instance, both Astra and Viper very good at anchoring sites on defense and very good at playing that lurk and still having relatively global influence, especially Astra with her ability to play stars from anywhere on the map. And so I already like to see that Arlington are using that to their advantage. Now they've got the gun advantage, so this should be a pretty clean-cut round. That boombot can expire after just a couple seconds. So sad that it won't get too much information, but already this early mid presence is going to be good for Arlington.
Let's see what they're all be able to offer here. Galaxy Vortex with the Spectre, with the Stinger getting 2. Krad quick with the Ares, looking to get 1, make it 2, almost, never mind. Vitorium with the Classic brings him down almost immediately. University of Hawaii down to their last 2 players.
Trying to watch for Matcha, but this utility play is going to lock them in. All of Arlington knows that Honda Peak is just stuck here. The spray through smoke. 4K for Galaxy Vortex. What a way to start things off.
Galaxy Vortex peeking when and only when he needs to, getting that crossfire in, even you'd least expect it. And just like that, we got UTA taking 2 rounds in a row now. Heading into this next one, University of Hawaii finally have some guns to work with. And, you know, they are on the defensive side here, so they can play a pretty patient game.
Doesn't look like they want to play too patiently, though, is both on to peak and Sky are sitting up on the side and is just going to be hit with a flurry as Vitorium snatches up Krad. That's a good start to just completely remove this momentum. Oh, no.
Oh, on the peak, looking to survive here with 20 health. Nacha here also trying to take some possession over that heaven side. Chester Skin almost takes him down here. Lives to tell the tale. Roomba pushed back. And it's a bit of a standstill here as we still wait for the team to push in towards the A site.
There was so much chip damage dealt in that initial sequence that it is really dangerous, as maybe falls in this duel. And now it's a 3v5. The gun advantage, the information advantage, all for Hawaii. And Galaxy Vortex can't even try and get this ult orb to get the Seekers.
Oh, on the peak, he's spraying through the boxes, and Vitorium will take him down and get another one as well. Galaxy Vortex finds the man on the rotation, leaving him to be the only man alive here as he heads towards B site. Even a spike plant is at max, I believe, what he can get at the moment, unless He's able to get this first kill. No, he's not. And University of Hawaii get their very first round win.
That was just a full self flash out of Galaxy Vortex. A little funny in that moment. And unfortunately for UTA, they did use the Seekers that round. So that's a pretty big resource that you want to have on offense when you don't have that really strong ult cycle going, especially with Rain and Matcha being not getting any kills so far. You're pretty behind with the Great Divide and the Showstopper being the next ones that are coming up. Not the most effective at taking space outside of maybe the Showstopper and a run in, but it's not quite the same impact as a Seekers for starting and execute. So that'll definitely be something Hawaii are going to be happy to take off of the table. And now we're just getting into a slow default. Both teams watching themselves, of course, as it was that last round was the bonus from UTA. So this is our first true gun round, and this is where the teams are really going to see what each other have in store.
We in from mid here. We got on the peak, trying to survive here, but the Astro's vulnerability could come into question.
Out of charges.
Push all the way back.
They don't know. They don't know!
Oh, they don't know. No, they don't. Krad, however, still manages to take him down. Not a lot of lives lost there. Patorium, over on the other side, does manage to take Matcha down. So taking A isn't out of the question. It seems like everybody seems to be on their way towards A side, except for Galaxy Vortex. He still is considering it and is still pushing towards B.
I think Krad just wants to try and make some noise, sell that there's an intention to play this A site where the rest of the team is trying to move over. I think they even committed. I know they just committed the Viper Wall earlier in the round. This is going to be, there should be a plant for Galaxy Vortex, but Igor is close.
Spike planted.
Oh, eager. A little too eager to find that kill there. Maybe takes him down immediately. We got Krumba. Over at Heaven. Is that a tic-tac-toe crosshair? You'll have to see it.
Oh, he's got a hashtag, an Octothorpe if you want the actual name. And 3v3 retake onto site. It's going to be tight.
Multiple flashes in a row. Galaxy Vortex takes down one. And Krumba is going to be closing this one out with University of Hawaii winning that duel. 1-2 is the current round scoreline, and University of Hawaii have equalized the game.
And in that moment, the one difference between these compositions, right? It's the KJ versus the Breach. And so far, it does feel like that Breach might be a little bit more impactful as we get deeper and deeper into this half, especially with UTA starting on offense, right? Because if UTA are starting on defense, you have the KJ for a lot of defensive setups. You can try and build some momentum that way and then try and finish out the game with a few rounds on attack, right? That's a pretty good approach if you're starting with this composition. But without the Breach, there's so many positions that only having, you know, two to three flashes around off of this sky, it makes it that much more difficult to try and aggressively take space in the ways that UTA really like to. Whereas Hawaii can just step forward off of those fault lines and off of those flash points. And it's been the source of their retakes is Krag. He's so far up mid. Might be able to take advantage of this timing.
And seems like they're on the right track to do so. Dalawai has found one on the peak. Is going to get another. And University of Hawaii, just like that, are at a two-player advantage as they head towards top mid here on the peak. Still very much alive, trying to stop this push, but it's not going to be easy. Galaxy Vortex is going to be the one leading the charge here, Stinger in hand. Does he spot Krumba? Yes, he does. On the peak. Everybody's playing a very patient game at the moment. Oh, Krumba walks right into the suppression, and maybe he's going to take him down just like that. Iger Chestiskin finds the trade for two, and leaving UTA in a 1v4 with Galaxy Vortex. The only man alive, and Spike not under his control. What does he do?
It seemed like Hawaii's smoke was right on top of the Spike. Not sure about that. Might have just been a misplace, but so much noise. It's going to be an easy kill for Patorium. The clock was working against Galaxy Vortex. Hawaii knew they just had to sit on their crossfires, wait it out, and it'll be A-okay, as they've taken every single round once rifles have come into play. So Hawaii looking very, very comfortable, and we're seeing an Arlington timeout this early. I like this. It's again, I'm just a huge fan of really early timeouts at the start of a series because it's so easy to let your mental start to run in situations like this where you're the higher seed, you're expecting to do well. Of course, this isn't your favorite map, but it's certainly not one that UTA are bad on, and you've been shut out of just about every gun round, and pretty convincingly at that. And even in that fourth round where Hawaii evened things up, UTA had for a moment a numbers advantage. They had the site advantage, but they just got caught off of the retake and the aggression that this breach allows out of Hawaii. And I'm just not sure if they're using this KJ to maximum effect. Currently 0-3-0. Of course, useful at clearing out corners, but it just hasn't materialized in much. And I think enabling Matcha or trying to find a way to be a little bit more potent with this Sentinel is really how UTA has to try and approach the rest of this game, because they so far have not found an answer.
Interesting to see what match I can bring onto the table. As of right now, 0 kill scoreline here for the Killjoy as well as the Rain. You know, we were talking about Kirad and Rain to be the ones with the most offensive prowess, and currently it just has been Kirad with most of the kills on the duelist side of things. University of Hawaii is still on the defensive side here, 3-2 being the current scoreline, and top mid might just be the way to go at the moment.
Yeah, and Rain does have some of their moments, but Crad is definitely the star player on UT Arlington, so it makes sense that they're at the top of the leaderboard. They're incredibly individually talented. They know their agents inside and out, so certainly going to be the one making space. Already used paint shells to grab this early control events, and I do like this approach quite a bit. Getting a strong foothold in mid is exactly what UTA needs, and then I think they're going to try and pincer onto this A site. It'll be really hard for Praetorium and Dollarway to try and hold this from ramp.
Well, Galaxy Vortex, you know, he has always been the one to just hop around mid and make sure that he's able to find all the weird peaks at the moment. Dollar, do you survive? It seems like he will. Torium and Kroomba find one for each of themselves. Galaxy Vortex peeks in, dies to Dollar. And just like that, Arlington are left to their last player. It's Rain, who's found his first one, looking for the second, which he will get. You know, 1v3. As it peeks out, trying to find the third man. It's going to be taken down, and University of Hawaii are now up by 2.
Oh, and that was such a good idea from Arlington. I liked getting that early mid pressure, turning it into this pincer on ramp, but there just wasn't quite the immediate coordinated strike that I'm so used to seeing from this Arlington team, right? They have 2 players in vents, 2 players up ramp, and you're trying to pincer whoever's going to be defending that position. And then Crad turns to the left and tries to showstopper the opposite side when the rest of the team hasn't cleared out ramp, and it just creates this crossfire that Hawaii are able to decimate the Mavericks with. And to me, it just comes down to not everyone being on the same page in that moment. And this time, Mach is going to play that lurker and is going to get caught out by the aftershock. Has to move away. Igor is going to take advantage of that space, and already a man advantage. Galaxy Vortex gets the right click on Dollarway, so that's an upgrade for a second. This is a little scary. Dive down from on to peak. So well done, and ooh, it's 3v3, and it's action not stopping. It's Crad coming up.
3-1, Crad has taken down yet another man, leaving University of Hawaii on a 2v3. UT Arlington, you know, whenever they have this man advantage, they have known to take the game, but so far, it hasn't gone their way. They need rounds here. Can they get it? That's the question. Now, on the site, take here, University of Hawaii, in this 2v3. Both of them seem to be pushing in from the CT side at spawn.
They have the Rolling Thunder, but considering they haven't used it yet, this feels like they're just trying to play for exits or maybe a couple dry peaks.
Yeah, couldn't do much, and it couldn't do much there. I'm very surprised as to see that he was able to find a kill through the DK. Kroomba going down early, and then that 1v1 was pretty much self-explanatory there. Peeking in while going through the DK is not going to result in a kill whatsoever. Gets the headshot on him as well and take another round for UT Arlington.
And in this moment, I was just a little confused by that decision because I feel if you're in that 2v3, you don't have information on your opponents. You're either saving or you're going to try and full commit with those ultimates. But this time, oh man, Hawaii already just taking control of this B-side. Crad wants something and actually just gets it back as both raises take out both Vipers. We're all even on both sides.
You want to fight it?
Well, and this is a round that Arlington needs to tie up the game here. Let's see if you're able to. Let's see if they are able to bring it right back. It seems like Crad is off to a great start here, taking down Iger almost immediately. Spike has gone down. Oh, Krumba's ready with the breach ult on the peak. Rocket is gonna find Matcha. Looking for another, which they will find, and another is not the only one that they find. Galaxy Warriors, last man alive, 2v1. The spike seems to be diffused at the moment. Vitorium already has half. Oh, they could just line up here. No, they don't. We got Krumba taking down Galaxy Vortex, and just like that, University of Hawaii take the lead right back into 2.
Oh, that was such a scary moment. Seeing them line up, you called it. I was just afraid that in that second they'd both get flashed out. But no, both look away, both able to take the duel. So very well done. Good control out of the U Hawaii retake and eventual stand. And you said it was a crucial round. It absolutely was. Right now, UT Arlington, they're reset. They're still going to force up. I've got a feeling maybe is going to maybe do something. I don't know. I keep using his name in the phrase because I'm just unsure. Just going to go for the heavy shields and the sheriff. Okay, it is going to be that commitment. So buying down on the Astra makes sense. And now Hawaii, they're actually contesting this mid space that Arlington used to really great effect earlier on. So some nice adjustments coming through for the green wave.
There.
And these adjustments are what's keeping them at this 2-round lead. Crad, the one leading the charge here. Galaxy Vortex being as careful as he possibly can, but not enough, it seems like. Galaxy Vortex, there he goes. He finds the second kill as well. Just like that, University of Hawaii down to their last 3 players with Iger currently at this. Okay, out of the smoke, and Matcha takes him down immediately. That is some real unfortunate stuff coming in from the Hawaii side. UT Arlington still 4 players alive here. 4v2 on the peak. As soon as you peek, you'll find the kill, surprisingly. And Crad does take down one, leaving on the peak to be the last man alive. Not for long, as Galaxy Vortex puts him out of his misery. And the scoreline, once again, comes back to a single round.
Good round from UTA, but that was winnable for Hawaii. I know it's like a 4v2. Looks like it's pretty cut and dry, but it was a flat 2v2, and with On to Peak getting the first kill, that was scary for a second. I really think if Vitorium and On to Peak just moved together, they checked that angle together, they probably win and get both of those kills. At the very least, there's a trade back, and then it starts to get dicey. It's a 2v1. You have flashes. It's very, very doable, as Rain is going to get spotted out by that guiding light. So Hawaii knows there's at least a little presence by this A site, but UT Arlington doing what they do best, finding a foothold mid now that there's not so much smoke coverage, and taking advantage of these site shifts we're seeing out of Hawaii.
Man, Hawaii has been playing a pretty interesting game here. You know, we see them either pushing in towards mid or straight towards the sides. It has never been a simple push. It always has had something of a weird factor here, as we see 2 of the players now pushing in from the mid side. Or on the other side of the map, we got Petroleum finding one. Matcha takes him, maybe takes him down. Matcha finds another on the other side of the map, leaving us in UT Arlington and Hawaii in a bit of a 4v3 situation. Dalawai present at site, Stinger in hand. The 3 players from University of Arlington are now planning to move towards A site here.
They have no information, though. These Seekers are going to provide a lot of it, and that guiding light lets them know there's someone behind. It's a little scary. Just going to use the tactical nuke instead. It's a 2v4. Should be a safe plant for Arlington. And with on to peak going down, there's Igor. We're all tied up 5-5. Some great adjustments made by UT Arlington. Something I want to note that we saw at the start of that round was Arlington went for that same sort of mid-push into ramp pincer, and this time they actually pushed together. Praetorium also adjusted, was playing a little further down on ramp, so that's why he was able to get one kill, but it was immediately traded back, and both points of contact would have been able to meet at the top of ramp, and that's the kind of coordination that UT Arlington was lacking earlier. Now, Hawaii are the ones who've been struggling a little bit and have been starting to get counter-stratted, so good to take their time out for this half, try and get these last two, give themselves a lead moving forward, because even though Split's a little more attacker-sided now, it's still very tough with how linear this map is.
Just a lot of back and forth between these teams. You'd think that UT Arlington will have no trouble walking away with this game, but so far University of Hawaii are doing such a good job in making so otherwise. Because the amount of retaliation, resilience that we see from the defensive side, from the defensive roster here, it has been pretty breathtaking.
It's been really impressive, and this is Hawaii's map pick, so that's probably a pretty big part of it. They're very practiced, and it shows. Their retakes are incredibly clean. They understand how to use this double controller setup very, very well. At times, using them like Sentinels, where you just select Astra and Viper, you're going to anchor a site. Everyone else will rotate to the other, and you can just hold on the lurk. And I think Arlington are still trying to figure that out on the attacking side, but on to peak. Spooky position, almost runs into 5.
Just a lot of damage coming in from the from the Hawaii side here. As they put in some points of damage, Krad's still gonna be the first one to push through on the peak. This is some really unfortunate stuff there. Krad was not even looking at him, and he wasn't able to get the kill. And just like that, University of Hawaii will now have to play on this post-plan situation. Krad's on a bit of a killing spree as he's taken down 2 over at Heaven, leaving 2 alive. And the question remains, for how long?
At this point, the round already almost feels lost. Igor's looking the wrong way. He's going to get caught by maybe here. And Karumba, you can hold on to this rifle. I think Hawaii's economy is in a solid enough spot, but they did lose the last couple rounds, so maybe there is a case to be had of maybe just holding on to that rifle and making sure they play it safe, especially after the Viper's Pit and the lockdown are committed. Arlington really wants an even half, and they do get it, as Karumba gets one exit, immediately answered. And now it's Hawaii, who were looking so good for the majority of this half, that are on the back foot.
Yeah, Arlington, they've had flashes of brilliance here and there, but what you would expect from Arlington, excuse me, is just continuous dominance, right? Considering the kind of games that they have played in the past this season and what they are expected to play out. But no, Hawaii has made it very difficult for Arlington to take rounds here. Finally, at the end of this first half, we see Arlington up by 1. Let's see what this last round is able to offer us.
And Krad just blitzes onto site. Hawaii's lucky they didn't post anyone up behind, and now they're trying to rely on this sort of anchor out of the raise to be enough. But Karumba's waiting, and maybe he's ready for that angle. Check your corners, kids. It'll save you in spots like that. As this is going to be the Great Divide dropped, they have a little pocket for the plant, and this should be pretty comfortable. Hawaii already on the rotate. Don't realize that Matcha is still on the trail, though, and it's a double fake! It's the double fake!
Oh, Matcha is going to be finding one here, but the double fake, like you said, is going to be... Oh my god. University of Hawaii, Arlington, Galaxy Vortex here. Going for the flash peak, doesn't find the first one. Praetorium now going to be taken down before on the peak. Is there to trade him out as well? He's looking for the second man, maybe. Exact same position. Jester Scan is not able to find the other man, leaving on the peak to be the last man alive here. And it works out perfectly well for maybe UT Arlington, ending the first half in a 7-5 fashion.
And I think it's really off the back of the timeout they took early on. It didn't have immediate results, but it did have those long-term results that you want, where we see that this was a pretty straightforward half where Hawaii were really, really strong off of once rifles came into the game. UT Arlington takes a timeout. They start to figure out how to use this KJ a little bit more effectively. We're seeing Matcha not quite on the scoreboard next to like Galaxy Vortex and Crad, but we're seeing Arlington's playstyle change. They're not trying to step into open space and use Galaxy Vortex's flashes as much as they were at the start. They're not trying to go 1-for-1 in some of these positions where there's probably a little bit more space-taking utility for Hawaii. They're instead covering angles. They're clearing out positions. They're making it difficult, and now Krad's gonna run right into onto Peak, who's got a nade out, and Krad already got 1 kill, looking for number 2. Satchel used for just a second in this gravity well, nearly enough, but Kroomba on the backside keeps it going. 4v4 on site.
Galaxy Vortex will be the one leading the charge here on the Peak. On the other side is going to be heading in towards the top mid position. Torium and Kroomba are going to be the ones following suit as they head towards B side. UTA Rain. Now, do you stop the 3 players simultaneously? I guess they're all shots like that. Galaxy Vortex taking down Kroomba.
Now it's a 2v4, and I'm gonna say Hawaii are lucky that they picked the A site. They still gotta walk through maybe, and he's gonna get that crossover. There's a little bit of support now from Galaxy Vortex, so that'll make this an even fight to start, and now they know, and on to Peak starts off strong.
Galaxy Vortex needs to be very careful with his peaks here, which he is. He finds the first one. Matcha takes down yet another. And as the dust settles, as UT Arlington coming out on top with an 8-5 scoreline, and with the classics in hand, they take the pistol.
And we did see them take the pistol last half, so I'm not going to put too much stock in that. Of course, I think it's a little more impactful that they had the lead going into the half, so now they're going to put themselves up to 9, start threatening double digits, and reaching that end game. So Hawaii definitely has to be careful here, but don't get ahead of yourself. Just take this save round. It's probably going to be a loss. Try and get a plant. That's all you want, but maybe all he wants to farm. He's got the judge.
Maybe. Great position to be in. But it seems like Hawaii wants to play a very patient game here. Petorium might just be the first one to push through.
You're going to wait for a flash. That's going to be the go button, and maybe he's going to try and dodge it with his Viper wall.
The push comes in. Peak takes down maybe in an almost instant. Galaxy Vortex, on the other hand, does have the spirit. Finds 1. Down to his last few points of health. Pratt needs to switch his position, but not before being taken down by On the Peak, whose frenzy plays have not been something to scoff at all, as Dalawai finds yet another, leaving UT Arlington at a bit of a 2v3.
Copy killed.
This is a true eco. Now it's just even footing on to Peak on with a 3K. Now he's got the judge, nearly doing some nasty business. It's a 1v1. Last couple members, both got Spectres.
Kroomba, drinking from the flank side. Ow, this is so unfortunate. We'll get the suppression in, and I don't think that should be big of a trouble. Matcha takes him down nevertheless, and just like that, we got UT Arlington taking their 9th round win.
Oh, and I just feel so bad for Kroomba there. Missed the timing by just a second and didn't expect that stick to happen. So the timing was off by about a second for when you'd want to turn the corner in that moment. Super fine margins, but it does overall work out because that's still a fantastic eco. 4 guns taken away. This bonus isn't a bonus at all, right? It's gonna be a half buy down, really a full buy down with a lot of scrappy guns. So definitely something Hawaii has to be aware of, the possibility of this being a buy around to the Spectre. So they've still got to respect a lot of these angles, as there's still going to be some range, and definitely going to be some options with the Judge and Galaxy Vortex's hands.
Pushing in towards the mid side here, we got Kroomba on the Peak, Petorium as well as Chest the Skin. Or on the other side of the map, we got Galaxy Vortex pushing in from Heaven. How does that turn out? How does that pan out well for the roster?
I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of concession of this mid space. I think that Arlington are fine just playing site because there's a lot more ways to get creative on these sites and around the points that you'd push out of from mid. So I do like this patient play from Arlington. They know that they can't take any angles like ramp or any longer positions. So instead, they're going to keep it close, keep it dangerous, and Mach is going to be the first point of contact.
And the first point of contact has been denied any kind of presence here with all the satchels being loaded onto him. UT Arlington. Sight completely theirs for the retake. Let's see if they're able to bring something here. University of Hawaii are going to get that spike down. Kroomba takes down the first man, Rain. As we see Krad still over at B main here. It all comes down to him to find these early picks. Let's see if he's able to bring something up here.
Spots the barrel. Good start.
Galaxy Vortex gonna find more kills here. Doesn't seem like he can because it's Dalawa in a pretty great position, leaving UTA down to the last man. And just like that, we got University of Hawaii taking their 6th round win. Current scoreline being 6-9, and University of Hawaii are finally have put something on the board on the second half.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice round out of them. Very well done. They understood what their positions were. They understood that the one source of danger was that corner in heaven, and beyond that, there's probably not going to be too much presence for Arlington around the main section of site, around default, just because of the nature of the guns they were holding on to. So good read by the Green Wave, certainly netting them a much-needed round, but this time gonna be a little tighter. Oh, nice flick to prevent the shorty. Madness coming out of ramp.
University of Hawaii already off to a great start here in this round, but being a little too confident. It's Rain on the classic. He's found 2, but Peak might just be able to take him down here just a little too late. But the concuss is gonna do it for him. Rain taken down early. Maybe he's still on that shorty. So rotation is out of the picture. University of Hawaii, what do you do with the spike? Do they go towards speed? That does seem to be the plan. Well, they still have Matcha to deal with. The Sheriff is going to put in some amount of damage. It's not going to be nowhere near enough to take down this roster.
Danger point here is maybe. He's got a Phantom, has 100 health, plenty of utility to play with. That's going to be the scariest point, is already 2 stars dropped. No smoke committed quite yet, and with Matcha falling, this is not looking great. Maybe could just want to hold on to this. If you find one, that might open the door. And with that actually peek out, Kroomba's down to almost nothing. On to Peaks playing Heaven. So this is suddenly doable, but a good timing peak. And that will be number 7 for Hawaii. But UT Arlington giving them, making it real expensive. A lot like Hawaii on round number 2 of this half.
If you're comparing Hawaii in real life, a little different.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, light buy next to nothing, some classics doing some damage, but economy's still good for Hawaii. They still have a full buy. This gun round's going to be pretty crucial, though. Both teams have a couple members very, very low on credits.
Absolutely. University of Hawaii 7-9 being the current scoreline, you know, very close to bringing it right back to the 9-9 scoreline. We shall see whether this offense is capable of bringing it to it. The desired scoreline. See, most of the positioning coming in from University of Hawaii is currently placed towards top mid as they look to peek towards heaven. Petroleum is going to be the one starting us off strong here. Matcha sent back a little, while on the other side we got Krad taking one. We got Shestrin and Kroomba finding a one for themselves, and Galaxy Vortex finds the trade over at mid. 2v3 here. Once again, UT Arlington this time in a bit of an advantageous position as the spike has dropped down. The reveal, the flash is going to do so much damage as Matcha takes down the last man at mid, leaving Iger Shesterkin. You know, sometimes the pronunciation is hard. Iger Shesterkin to be the last man alive over at B site, and saving the gun might just be the best idea here.
Still 40 seconds, so a little time to probe out mid. I think that's the plan here, but it is unfortunate that Arlington already knows where he is off of the Seeker, so they can expect this to be a Scuttle Shack push, unless they expect something coming from the top. This is going to be pretty tight against Machi. Needs to win this opening duel. There's no immediate trade. Oh, he just missed the timing on the utility pullout. That could have been beautiful. Unfortunately, works out for Matcha. And Arlington get a much-needed round. Carrying 3 guns over, that is a very, very big deal. It means they'll be able to just about full buy. I think it's going to be a Bulldog for Rain here, so not too concerned about that. Spectre instead, that's perfectly fine. But on the other side, Hawaii, as I mentioned, both teams are in a pretty dicey economic spot. They're going to half buy to leave everyone at 2K and play for 11.
Playing for 11, playing for the end game here. UT Arlington not too far away from it. And of course, after that round win, it should be easily given to them, considering the economy seems to be currently in their favor, facing only pistols at the moment. Oh, Galaxy Vortex isn't able to spot somebody quick enough. Darwai hiding in the smoke. Only has a classic to work with, but the flash is gonna let them know that be sure to check those corners. As University of Hawaii still looking to push towards A here. And well, Darwai is trying to follow through, taken down by maybe on the peak. Not sure what he's doing with the rocket launcher here.
Yeah, in that moment.
Brad is still very much alive here. He could easily take down this entire force.
Oh no.
The ult is out, and he's decided to throw it on himself.
Crad gets disoriented with getting a flash while holding the showstopper, but it doesn't really matter. The rest of the team is sitting from heaven, so it all works out in the end and goes pretty much according to plan, as Hawaii are going to take, I think, a much-needed timeout. They just got reset and answered with another round back. You're at 11 rounds. You don't want to have to try and play for a tie. If you lose this, you have no money. You have to try and force your way all the way back up for 5 rounds straight. That is such a tall order for any team. But I think that their team is definitely one that can make this happen just because of their composition, where they have the potential for really fast hits, and they also have the potential to take it a little slower. A couple rounds ago, we saw them do this 1-3-1 setup where they put both of their controllers on the extremities and let this sort of 3-man wrecking ball unit of Raze, Breach, and Sky work together to gain mid control. And I kind of like that idea, except for when they're not moving together and then they wind up getting smoked off by maybe. That's when it all falls apart. So I think that there's definitely some maneuverability in their composition, and they've shown that they have multiple strategies up their sleeve. And now we just have to make sure that they can use it. They also have a lot of ultimates up. They've got to cycle them properly to make sure they're always able to provide a threat. I think this Rolling Thunder has to be the first one you open with, though.
Absolutely, and you know, playing for the split here, I was gonna say playing for the split here makes the most sense, but now that you pointed out the ults, I feel like, you know, maybe just a push straight towards the site could be the way to go, considering the amount of ults you have. Taking a site is not gonna be that difficult of a task.
Especially with this Viper's Pit already being committed B, we're seeing a ton of aggression mid by Arlington. Oh no.
Wow. I mean, okay, we were expecting University of Hawaii to be aggressive, but UT Arlington says, hold my water.
Ooh, big kill from on to peak to even things up. And actually, Krumba's going to hear this coming through sewer, so he's going to be ready on the backside, but Krad's even faster! What a rollout! Good to go even for both parties involved. Honestly, it was dicey, all things considered, and on to peak getting Matcha. That should seal this round, as you already know where Vortex is. Rain doesn't have many options, and the Viper's Pit's committed, but with Igor falling, that starts to turn the tables.
Oh boy, now in a 1v2, and just like that, Darwai is able to take him down, and much needed round victory here for University of Hawaii, bringing us up to 8-11 on the current scoreline. And well, Arlington, they have their work cut out for them.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with this buy from Arlington. It's so all in on this round. You have to win, otherwise you're staring down 11-11 scoreline. This off being picked up is a huge investment for Crad, and we haven't seen it at all. So maybe that's what they're banking on. It's gonna bank on the right side.
Where the players are concentrated.
Oh, it's scary.
That's the first one. There it is.
Wow. The fact that there hadn't been a single op, and then you pull it out.
Worked.
Oh, man, these guys got to go to Vegas. Get out of Arlington. Holy moly.
Victorium, he's trying to push in towards mid, but I'm sure he'll be able to do just that as soon as he climbs that barrel. Right on the other side. Ooh, Brad pretty smart with those peaks, knows where they are, and you know he's reading the commit here. He knows that they are committing towards B side because look at the other side of the map. We got the Astra pushing in all the way through spawn, so it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what they do here. Brad, oh, struggling to take down the bot there, but still, it seems like the rotation call has been made, and surprisingly, two of the players have walked right through the middle position. And this is rough. This is rough for UT Arlington. They have no idea that they've already reached A site. The entire team seems to be concentrated towards B here, and finally the call is made, and it's gonna be a full rush coming in from UT Arlington towards A site. So
yeah, little noise from vents, that's just enough to trigger everyone to move over. I think that they were banking on this just being a stack up towards B site, considering the Rolling Thunder is up, but take the wrong gamble. Started out strong and maybe kicking it off even stronger. This is dicey for Hawaii to keep it going.
He's waiting for the flash, but okay, Petorium decides to just walk right into his crosshairs. All right, University of Hawaii down to their last two players. And maybe he's gonna take one down. Kroomba is the last man alive. He does have the ult in his hand, but the spike is being diffused, and I feel like 8-12 is gonna be the current scoreline. No matter what Kroomba does here, the spike is gonna be diffused. And in the end, UT Arlington have gone up to 12. Kroomba still manages to live on, but I don't think that was the point of the ult there. Unfortunate for University of Hawaii. If he would have been just a little quicker there, that ult would have stopped the defuse.
Yeah, I think in that moment, when you're in a 1v5, you have to know that they're going to stick one player no matter what. So the second you win that duel, you have to pop the Rolling Thunder to hope that you get it. And he was, as you said, a second too slow. And now that is a huge ulti no longer available for this squad. And this map is already starting to feel all but done. Looking for a little bit of aggression out of B main, not trying to contest onto site, just confirm this space, make sure that this op can't get much work done. Crad senses it, knows Kroomba has to be here, and wow, snatches up that duel.
Smart plays, and okay, look at Crad being a little too aggressive. That might just come to bite him back, which it does. Dalawai takes him down immediately. We got University of Hawaii committing towards the B-side rush here to Petorium. Over at mid, Spectre in hand, deciding to play a bit of a slow game here, maybe. Great position to be in. Petorium has been caged from all sides, and as he pushed through, Macha is going to be putting him out of his misery, leaving Dalawai being the only man alive over at middle position, and the judge is going to walk right onto him. Macha takes down the last man, and 13-8 is the current scoreline for the first game, with UT Arlington taking it in a 13-8 fashion.
The start of this game looked really, really even. I mean, I think we were at what, like 4-4, 5-5?
Yeah.
Both squads taking it to each other, but in that second half, Arlington just a little bit stronger. They started to read what plays Hawaii had up to them, and they proved me wrong. They used this KJ super, super well and delayed a lot of time, and on the opposite side, Hawaii just didn't feel like they were crisp enough with that breach, so super rough for them. I liked their composition going into it, but couldn't quite make it. And that was Hawaii's map pick. So now moving over to Ascent, something both of these teams are comfortable on, right? Like UTA getting a 13-2 win on this map, Hawaii getting a 13-1 win, but they were up against very different opponents. Hawaii beating Idaho, Arlington beating NAU. One's in the top 5, one's in the bottom 5. And that's going to be the question moving forward. They've both shown comfort, but is Hawaii at that same caliber as Arlington?
You know, I do want to point out that UT Arlington, like you said, the earlier parts of the game were very close. We saw 4-4, 5-5, very similar to what we saw in the Tennessee versus St. John's matchup. So the factor there is being able to read what kind of communication and what kind of factors are at play when when the enemy team decides to move into a particular location. And UTA were pretty good at I mean, you know, marking it down. Okay, this is the place where they're heading in. This is how we're going to enclose on them. So if University of Hawaii can factor in the unpredictability and it can make sure that UTA have no idea where they're headed. You gotta have that unpredictability here, because the mechanical difference is there. It is there. We see it, and the only way to counter that is playing in a way where you would not expect to be.
Exactly. It's about coordination. It's about team play and making those adjustments relative to your opponents. So we'll see if there's enough of that on Ascent. Arlington looking hot, but Hawaii certainly have space to try and take us to map number 3. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we will be right back with this UTA Hawaii series.
And we are back with game number 2 of this best of 3 series between University of Hawaii and UTA, University of Arlington. And looking at this one, second map, ASIN to Turbo, what are we thinking?
I think that Arlington are the heavy favorites. I don't want to discount boys from Hawaii. I love this team. They're super fun to watch, super fun to see. I've really enjoyed watching these past couple weeks. But again, if we look at the recent scores, right? UTA crushing NAU,
Yeah.
crushing DePaul, 13-4, 13-2. Those are both teams in the top 5. Hawaii crushing Idaho, not as quite as strong as team, beating Delaware, really solid squad, but then losing really brutally to NAU, 3-13. I was going into that map expecting it to be University of Hawaii's just like bread and butter. It was a decider. They'd had a really strong week previous, and then NAU just walked up and demolished them. And considering UTA gave that same treatment to the Lumberjacks, I'm a little worried for Hawaii moving forward. And now as we're seeing comps lock in, there is this same question. What is your second initiator? Are you going for the KO or are you going for the breach? And so far, I think earlier today, we saw the breach really winning out in the UTK St. John's matchup. So I'm expecting it to be the same today, especially with the coordination that we saw out of UTA on split.
It's going to be a difficult matchup for University of Hawaii heading into this one and knowing what the records are. But, there are stats and then there is your current mindset. Of course, if you have the confidence, you can, just ignore all the stats and play your best.
Yeah, and I am going to say, like, looking at stats, right, on paper last week, it should have been cut and dry. Hawaii wins against NAU, and you can make the same argument here today, right, where Arlington on paper are just going to be cut and dry that much further ahead. But I do think that there is a lot of potential here, and I think the first 5 or so rounds are going to be pretty telling on the kind of game that we're going to get. Of course, Pistol, I considered a bit of a coin toss. Obviously, there's better teams at Pistols, and you might see certain strategies win out. But overall, in terms of the game at large, I'm not going to put too much weight on it because these teams are gun round teams. They're not super scrappy. They don't like to be going back and forth. They like to have their set pieces and play as controlled as possible. So we're going to see, I think, once we hit rounds 4 or 5, really what this map is made of. But it all starts here in the Pistol to see if you can get yourself some of that early momentum. So maybe you don't need as many of those gun rounds moving forward.
What's really surprising here from UT Arlington is that they've decided to push in towards B side, knowing that the KJ is playing on the opposite side here, facing all the utility early on and no KO to work with. So it's going to be a pretty tough task to run through, as we see all the mollies being pushed out, and Krad is going to get punished for it, taken down almost immediately here. And just like that, UT Arlington will have to reconsider whether they want to push towards B side.
And this is like the Ascent gamble, where you don't know where the Killjoy is going to be set up round 1, if they're going to go for a B setup or an A setup. So you just have to pick a site and hope you don't run into the KJ. But in that instance, they did just get rolled down by the Nano Swarms. At this instance, there is a slight numbers advantage, so there's a chance here out of Tree. Petorium's caught lacking, but instead gets 1. That's all you need to be good for. It's 2v4 moving forward. This should be easy for Hawaii to finish up.
Absolutely. The UT Arlington, the aim here should be to get the spike down and get the money rolling, and that seems to be that's probably gonna be the case here. Granted, if the breach can get the spike down, Galaxy Vortex is still alive though, and so is Rain. So opportunity is there. Never mind. The turret taken down immediately. Dalawai not gonna be able to do so much here. Iger is gonna take down Galaxy Vortex. And just like that, University of Hawaii take the very first round win.
And I really like that controlled style. Hawaii recognizing that just because there's some presence over by Tree, it doesn't mean you should just leave your anchor, especially with the numbers advantage they had. It never hurts just to have a Killjoy sitting back. Now we're seeing Arlington set up for a bit of a default when they're on their save. So I've got a feeling they're really trying to let Matcha and Krad be aggressive, but beyond that, they're not setting themselves up great for round number 3 with a couple buy downs, so they're going to need to make some serious impact here.
And it all comes down to Scrad. What does he do here? Gets revealed, needs to get out of that place almost immediately. Over on the other side, we got Maybe pushing in towards Short. He's going to be facing both of these players at the exact same time. Does he get the kill? No, he doesn't. And the trade comes out for Praetorium. Scrad is around to make a difference. The Sheriff decides to not peek through yet. So, current state being UT Arlington hanging around over at the middle position. Much is spotted away. Nobody's gonna be peeking out anytime soon. But it seems like University of... Oh my god, where is that reel going? But it seems like University of Hawaii still have this round at the back.
Yeah, pretty sick lineup there. I enjoyed that one. As nanoswarms are popped to try and clear dice, but no dice for that, as Igor sits just a little further back, going to use that gun advantage, and it will be easy pickings for Hawaii. I really liked the way Arlington was choosing to play that round. They made a monetary investment, so they had to play like it, going for a default, getting an early trade, all going according to plan. But once you make one misstep against Spectres when all you got are pistols, the round's going to fall apart. And we're seeing the consequences of that investment last round. An Ares on the board, some light armor, not full util for everybody, right? Like, Crad is missing those updrafts, so going to be pretty crucial as far as getting information. And on to peak, already with an up.
Well, gun round for UT Arlington. Pretty crucial round here. Once again, deciding to push towards B side, and the question still being, oh, that's a pretty good shot from on the peak. Galaxy Vortex taken down early. The question now is UT Arlington, do they have what it takes to take the site to themselves?
Here.
There's still that one anchor, and that's going to be the question, is what can Dalloway do here? Has the Spectre, so the range advantage is all right, goes 1 for 1, and maybe already being so low, he's just going to go down to the shock dart. That's always fun for the highlight reel. And now here comes the rest, here comes the crunch. On to peak, already getting 1. It's a 4v1. Rain gets a little more damage dealt. Actually getting 2 down. That's pretty significant going forward, but Hawaii happy to pick up round number 3.
Well, that is gun round loss for UT Arlington, and University of Hawaii are on the right path to take this game home. Rain, you know, he had the right idea, taking down 3 in the process after the post-plan situation. Unfortunately, 3 isn't 5, and UT Arlington are going to be going down by 3 rounds.
And I think the issue there was, I mean, Galaxy Vortex trying to just post up mid, see what they can spot out, but they weren't ready for there to just be a round 3 up, because who is? It's so committal, it's really ballsy, but Hawaii on to peak, bit of an off crutch at times, and it works out for them. The fact that they're starting off strong against their opponent's map pick, very, very good for them. On the peak, though, losing the sniper battle for a second, can concede a lot of space back over to the Mavericks. 3 on A site should make this playable.
That it does. University of Hawaii, you know, they are at the right position. We got on the peak on the operator as well. So as soon as the smoke has disappeared, it's gonna be a bit of a fest here as we see Galaxy Vortex going down to the op. I'm not sure what he was planning to do there. Matcha still alive. Should he go for the peak here? Not yet. Chester finds Crad,
Spike down A.
leaving Arlington in a bit of a 2v5, and there it is. Dalloway takes down the second last man, but maybe surviving for just a little while longer, and it's gonna be University of Hawaii going up by 4.
And 4 guns taken over again. I'm gonna focus on the economy a little bit during this early game, because again, I said the first 4 to 5 rounds are probably gonna give us an inkling of how this game's gonna go, and now we're at round number 5, and it is a must-win in my eyes for UTA to not just fall further and further behind. Because if Hawaii are already setting themselves up for at least an even half on one of the most even maps, it's not a great look. And of course, Arlington are a very adaptive team. They're good on defense, but their composition wants to execute, and I haven't seen too much of that. So I hope in this moment we're going to see a little bit of a change of pace, but they're running right into the Killjoy blender again.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why this keeps happening here, UT Arlington. There are more ways to approach B side. This, however, need not be one. Crad, once again, gonna be pushing in here, trying to find some early kills over to University of Hawaii. Hasn't found anything yet on the peak, on the other hand. Might just be looking to find someone with the knives. Nothing yet for him either. Galaxy Vortex is still alive in a pretty great position. Let's see who he gets to peek out first. Okay, Galaxy Vortex needs to get out of that as soon as he possibly can. And Cuss comes out. Petorium, he's found 2. Galaxy Vortex finds 1 before being traded out. And of course, down to a 3v4 now. The spike's still taking. And the push comes in as well. The breach ult will do tons of damage as maybe takes down 2, leaving University of Hawaii in a bit of a 2v2 situation here. Arlington, can you stop these players? No, it doesn't seem like they can. Matcha still alive.
Wow!
Wow. What a play coming in from UTA.
I'm gonna need a second on that round just to think it through, right? Because it starts off,
yeah, absolutely,
and we've got Killjoy, Lockdown, we see the stall with the nano swarms, pretty standard stuff, right? And then Hawaii, they answer back, they bring everyone around, and they start winning these duels. Petorium starts to pop off, but what a split-second decision out of Rain to drop that Rolling Thunder, because at that moment, there had just been so much time already taking away from the lockdown, plus the first contacts and everything, and now there's a numbers disadvantage, so how do you answer that? You stun everybody! And a huge performance as well out of maybe snatching up 2 from the side. Really integral to that round going the way it did. And of course, in the last second, that final shot, 10 HP, 1 tap. You can't ask for anything cleaner. Huge performance out of everybody on Arlington in such an important round. And now here's the next most important, because this will start to break Hawaii's economy. Ooh. And that's what you really need for more. Is that was nearly the spray down that gets you banned in a ranked game.
Yeah, pretty much, but unfortunately, I believe he was behind a wall and not able to connect with these first few bullets. Arlington, still not sure about where they want to push, but now slowly inclined towards a shot here. Going to be facing 2 of the players, the KO and I believe the Astra at the same time. And just like that, Petorium is found 2, make it 3. And this man is an absolute legend, out on a killing spree, leaving Matcha to be the only man alive. And I'm not sure what Matcha is doing on the Sheriff at the moment, but hey, he will be relieved of the Sheriff pretty soon here. Never mind, I am sorry, Matcha. I am sorry for saying that. He's taken down 2, leaving him in a 1v3. Ooh, pretty good shoulder peek there. To get that reel in as well. Careful from the peek. Ooh, Dalawai almost spots him.
Oh. Okay, this should be it. Dalawai has the timing. Never mind, he gets a spike down. This is so doable for Matcha.
No way. Yeah.
Okay. No lineups there. Spots 1. This is dicey. Gets the 4th off of the shock dart. This is doable. Oh, what a clutch up from Dalawai. That was almost Matcha's round. Back-to-back clutch moments. Oh, that is so scary, but it's so brutal for Arlington to come that close to the round. Sure, they get the plant, but now they've been reset economically. In a terrible position in Hawaii are all but guaranteed a winning half.
Maybe I should do this more often, call out the players. Oh, as soon as I did. Well, Matcha went on a bit of a killing spree there. 4 kills in a row and so close to the 1v5 clutch. Unfortunate. University of Hawaii is still up by 4 rounds right now.
It's hero buy from Matcha. I get it. He's feeling himself. That last round, really impressive. Okay, does wind up selling it. So no hero rifle. We're just going to see Sheriff's going to try and do a little bit of Old West action. And with Igor getting spotted, this is possible to get into sight. Is going to be a pretty quick TP as well. Immediately shut down, used for info. But what a spray. What a spray.
Iger bringing down through the smoke. Really unfortunate for UT Arlington once again, as they'll have to reconsider where they want to go.
Oh, this is just time. Oh, okay, it takes their time. Igor gets 4K. Steals the A's. Come on to peak. What are you doing? What are you doing, man? But in all seriousness, clean, controlled round from Hawaii. Flawless at that. Everything they could ask for. have an even half. They're beating Arlington on their map pick. This is certainly not how I expected this first half to go, especially considering this Breach versus KO, right? We haven't seen too much as far as which agent is really all that much better. Both of these players not their utility really hasn't been the difference maker. It's just been whether or not they step up in the moment. I think the only point I can think of is when Rain pretty much solo clutched out that round with the Rolling Thunder being just enough. But now it's so critical for momentum, and the Owl Drone once again spotting Crowd out mid when he's got the knives. It's been brutal for the Duelist, the playmaker of Arlington.
Definitely it has, but you know, as he says that, he pushes and he's getting 3, and he's hungry for more. Can he get it? No, he can. The burst, however, could do some damage. Does he do it? No, he doesn't. And KO survives for just a little while longer. It takes him down as well. Vitorium's having a good time. Over on the other side, Arlington has gotten the spike down. 4v3. Guns looking alright. And of course, maybe and March are going to get one for each themselves, leaving on the peak to be the last man alive. But I believe that's a Guardian. Oh no, that's a Bulldog. Wow, the skin is really hard to know.
That's a Bulldog? That's a Guardian. That is a Guardian. I'm like, there's no way that's a Bulldog. It doesn't have the little extra oomph to it. Into Arlington, much needed round. They have an op, so we'll be able to put that in Krad's hands, should they so choose, unless Matcha's really feeling it. And what I liked about that round is they, for one, focus on enabling Krad to create space. He only got 1 kill, and it was very flashy at that, but it was all that they needed. They removed the KJ util with that early pick, and on top of that, they're able to snatch up market. They do a really fantastic B split, and Hawaii are just a little bit behind the 8 ball, and they need more moments like that where they're changing up the tempo and enabling their duelists just like that. Krad somehow only getting legged in that moment and still surviving through the KO molly. Well, 1 pick in and out, it's all you need at this early stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you know, you got to factor in the intimidation that you'd want to see on the opponent's side here. Getting that first kill, University of Hawaii will have to reshuffle their positions, as we see one over at the Heaven side and the other Praetorium. The most annoying player for UT Arlington at the moment is still hovering around A side here with the Phantom in hand. And of course, Iger says, I want to take that annoying title myself, as he takes down 2 in the process. And just like that, UT Arlington are gonna be taken down. Never mind, a little something coming in from Kroomba as he takes down Matcha as well, leaving Galaxy Vortex to be the last man alive. All right, that's 1. Can he get the second one? Not immediately, but he's looking for it, and he got it. 1v1 here. Praetorium still very much alive. Galaxy Vortex got the ult as well. Praetorium, what does he do? He does have the flash to work with. Playing a very patient game at the moment, but so is Galaxy Vortex. So know where he's coming in from, but the timing is perfect. Galaxy Vortex spots him out, and the clutch goes in favor of the Vortex.
Super huge moment, and Galaxy Vortex was absolutely massive on split, and once again here on Ascent, absolutely massive. As this UTA team have really turned it around. Once they were so close to winning with that near matcha clutch, it seems that something has put them into high gear. It could just be that they need to wake up for a second. It's not super late for them. It's not as late as it is for me here on the East Coast, and but it's still, it's getting a little later. They had a full day of classes, trying to wake up, so I think just a little bit of hype is all that they needed. Is on to peak, getting caught nearly an opening, and this is just going to be the lockdown, quickly committed onto this B site, make it very difficult for Hawaii to try and play out.
Oh, Krad do not want to lose much of his health there.
Oh, on the peak.
KJ ult is going to be bringing one of the players down. Oh, Krad, a lot of damage to him, but doesn't matter. On the peak, taken down immediately after Galaxy Vortex ult comes to fruition. Got a site completely under control for UT Arlington, and they're on the right path to make this their round victory. Krad and maybe find one for their own. Here's Galaxy Vortex pushing in towards market. He's found 2, and UT Arlington have found their 4th win.
And in that moment, right, they're working against an eco. Beautiful anti. You use that lockdown. Yeah, it's an ultimate, but I don't think you're too mad about just investing 1 ultimate for a round and keeping your bank roll up at this point. Even if they lose this next one, they'll be able to buy the following, and they'll have all the bells and whistles they need, whereas Hawaii are at a bit of a conundrum. They have just enough on Igor to maybe pick up that op for onto peak, but it hasn't been as effective as it was at the start of the half, so there's a lot of questions right now for Hawaii. And also just the fact that Arlington are playing with confidence, and they're starting to read the defaults that Hawaii are playing, and I think it's going to take maybe moving this KJ a little bit, potentially putting Praetorium on B site instead of A site this time, just to mix it up, to force UT Arlington to have to sit and think for a little bit instead of just running through and knowing who they're going to run into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some kind of switch up is necessary from the University of Hawaii side, and of course, in this timeout, I believe that should be the topic of discussion. Reshuffling for the last 2 rounds, absolutely crucial. And we're looking at the economy here. Both of the teams have enough money to work with to get the Vandals in both of these remaining rounds. Let's see what University of Hawaii has to offer, because it seems like as of right now, they're looking for the exact same roster positions.
Yeah, and they are going to opt for onto peak, so it is all in on this round. It's pretty all in anyway, so they would have just been left with an awkward amount of money on Igor, and if they win this round, it's likely it's obviously at least a 7-5, likely an 8-4 half with that sort of momentum switch, but if Arlington wins this, we're pretty much dead to rights, all even, and Crad is just doing so much work here mid. Kroomba's going to get spotted by the Owl drone, and now there's the cover, there's the kill.
Oh my god, Crad. That is some high IQ plays right there to take down the Sova. And the B side opening up slowly for the UTA side here. Do they push in immediately? That should be the plan here, which it is. After on the peak finds Matcha, B side is completely theirs for the taking.
And Hawaii has 4 ultimates here. I wouldn't be surprised if they just drop the null command with the Blade Storm. Break everyone down. Don't have to worry about utility. It still hasn't been popped quite yet. There it is. I want to get that maximum time on site.
Who's gonna push in first? That's the question here. Galaxy Vortex, he needs to find one here, which he does. And Crad finds one for himself as well. And UT Arlington are on the right path to take this game to themselves, leaving University of Hawaii in a bit of a 3v2. Oh, that Molly's gonna do it. Yeah, that's game.
Yep. Doesn't matter if you use anything else or even if you win these duels, that's just enough time. But both players of Hawaii will fall, and that's really unfortunate for their bank. Arlington don't care their players go down, but Hawaii certainly does. And I'm expecting us to get an even half. Great mid half responses from Arlington. You can see that 4 in a row, matching Hawaii's 4 in a row to start things off. And this is exactly what you want to see, is just some really good, even Valorant. 2 very well-matched teams going up against each other. But as we saw on Split, where it started out pretty similarly, Arlington, once they get going, they keep going.
The tables have switched, Turbo. Now we got Arlington with ults all the way through. 4 players currently on the ults, including Crad as well.
Oh.
Let's see what they're able to offer. We got Crad pushing in first. How aggressive would you want to be, Crad? Okay, first few knives missed away. Got the Astra pushing in from the heaven side here. Not peeking again, so University of Hawaii not getting on that high horse of excitement yet, playing a very patient game, and you love to see it. Crad as the operator, almost finds him, but that's a pretty good peek right there. Smoke goes out. Galaxy Vortex over at mid. The lurk comes to fruition, finds one, and this rotation could come through here. Praetorium found. Oh my god. Oh no, that is extremely unfortunate. Even in a vulnerable straight, Galaxy Vortex unable to kill him, and Matcha left all alone here, but he takes down both of them. You know what? He's not alone. He's got the power of all 5 players with him. Takes down both of them without much trouble. And the first half is ending on a 6-6 scoreline.
Dead even. All you could ask for. I don't know if you saw it, but the reason why I started laughing at the start of last round was because Matcha drops the Hunter's Fury, and immediately after he drops it, Patorium's knife hits, and he just gets immediately canceled because he's suppressed for 8 seconds, and that's like the duration of Hunter's Fury. So it was just such a funny moment for me walking into it, just those little micro interactions. But overall, at that moment, it was Arlington having those ultimates, as we said, but they didn't need to use many of them, right? It was the Blade Storm to walk up, sure, but it was the chip damage from the operator that really mattered. And yes, around at the end, that Rolling Thunder was popped, but it wasn't necessary as Matcha just did enough anyway, as Krad's going to get away with murder for a second. On the peak, wasn't quite ready to punish. Now Krad's going to expect this, or maybe he doesn't. Sneaks away just in time, though, off the flash. Really testing those limits, Krad, but I respect it.
Absolutely. Holding on for just a little while longer. We got on the peak. This time being the lead of this charge towards a side. Krad would not want to peek again, but this time is going to come to regret his decision. On the peak, takes him down as the door is being taken away. Rain is there to find one. So is Matcha, who finds 2. This man has been an absolute legend in the last few rounds, taking 3 down. Iger gets the trade. He's looking for the third. 70 health to his name in a 2v1. Iger is still very much alive. Can he be alive for much longer? Yes, he can. Oh, he almost finds Galaxy Vortex's head. But Galaxy, look at him. This man's on a shorty.
Lordy, he's got the shorty. I'm snatching a line from a good friend, Captain Atsoka. Absolutely killer caster. If you guys see him, give him some love, of course, as always. But that was a moment that I was really worried for Arlington. They got so much space. They got the early picks. And then Igor just says, I got a ghost. It's a Ruined King ghost, and I'm taking you out back, nearly turning that fight around. Even some ring around the rosy with Rain getting real scary for a second. But all in all, it works out. That shorty from Galaxy Vortex gets the job done. And maybe he's looking for some more. Wants to do it again. Gets one back. Quick spray out. Oh, it's a massacre from all.
God.
Oh, so well done. Just a quick little one to Punisher. And well, yes, Matcha goes down. Very quick and easy round.
A quick recap for the people watching. University of Hawaii started off this game with multiple wins in a row, going up to 6. Oh, being that scoreline at a particular point.
6-1, yeah.
6-1, yes. And UT Arlington have now won 7 rounds in a row for themselves. So it just goes to show, well, once this team starts going, they reach all the way through to the finish line. And that's what it seems like at the moment. 6-8. Pretty fast lane to victory here. Let's see if UT Arlington have what it takes.
I mean, their momentum has been constant, and they have not let their foot off the gas, or I guess I should say off the stirrups, considering they're Mavericks. But on to peak, starting off strong, taking down Galaxy Vortex. Something that we're going to have to watch, though, as this round progresses, is Krad's op. Did pick that up third round, just like Hawaii did, and Matcha answering back, and there it is. There's Krad's op, already getting it back to an advantage for UTA.
Okay, Matcha, I'm not sure what you were doing there, but, you know, I was going to say, you got to give credit to Matcha for what he has brought to the game here. For the last 2 or 3 rounds, this man has been the one clutching up the game, showing up when he needs to, and getting those multiple kills in those dire situations. As of right now, we see UT Arlington, the 3v3 site in their control, and let's see what Hawaii does in order to take this right back into their own hands.
Now, Hawaii are the ones who are on offense. They're the ones who've got this post plant set up. It's Arlington that are trying to step up. I think Krad has had
I guess we have to move on to the next half, my bad.
Swap, yeah, exactly. And maybe getting that op shot does start to open the door. Both of Hawaii's players are split, but Patorium plenty healthy on site and snatching away Rain. That should be enough. And with maybe at 10 HP, Hawaii are finding their mojo and getting back into this game, and picked up the op for on to peak. So excited to see these Jets continuing to tango.
Bringing it back. First win for University of Hawaii after so many rounds. They got to be feeling good about themselves. And a new strategy for them, of course. They got to wonder how they want to use this operator to the best of their abilities.
I think it's going to come down to using it to assert some early mid pressure or trying to peek a main with it. And it looks like they're opting for that main push. Seems it's going to be met pretty quickly, though, by Krad, who wants to get aggressive.
Oh,
and it's
boy.
right into the stun. No one's there to punish, though. How do you get away with this? He's suppressed, and he still gets out.
Wow.
You dash into a stun, get suppressed, and still survive. Peek this, please. And it's off of the flash.
And
it's
it goes
perfect.
for the peek again.
Okay, Kroomba gets the kill. I'm no longer mad. I'm no longer malding. But for a second, that felt illegal. On Galaxy Vortex, he's got the shorty. Oh, no, he doesn't. He's got a judge. The grown-up shorty.
Which is... dangerous territory for the KJ. Galaxy Vortex gonna push and like, take him down immediately. And, on the way, this is not one of the best ways that you want to die it.
Yeah, the KJs just running into each other, both being like, "Hey, we're separate from the rest of the team."
Side quest going on.
Yeah, it's a little side quest. And that first kill onto Igor's big, and Rain finding onto. He can't just dry peek that with an op. Walking into the smoke, super sketch. Now Praetorium's all alone, maybe with a nice 3K, and Arlington firmly swing that pendulum back into their favor. I don't think Hawaii have all that much for a buy here. Yeah, it's gonna probably be a couple sheriffs dropped, and I think that's about it from Dalloway and onto peak. Like, please don't buy Hero Vandal. Please don't do that at this moment. It's in my mind just throwing away creds and losing a lot of space. So
in his defense, he did just die to a judge,
So then why would you buy a Vandal again? Buy a judge if you're salty about it. Like, don't just run it down again. And this Krad's gonna run it down again instead of A-Site going for mid. And knowing that this is gonna be less of a buy, I can see the aggression as an idea, but it also opens you up to spots like that because the team's probably going to be stacked. So if you run into one, you're running into 4 or 5.
Rain looking to down everybody with that spray. Unfortunately, it's going to be Macha finding 2 before Peak takes him down. Maybe on the operator. There he goes, finds 1. A Peak, where are you going? This is not your playground. And just like that, Galaxy Vortex gonna be taking down the second last man, leaving Praetorium in a 1v2. 29 health to his name, does have the Phantom to work with, but no spike.
It's crazy. How is it that these are both like, they have like VCT jet plays, and then they have like my ranked game jet plays? It's all up to Praetorium in this moment. It's a 2v1, and sure, there's one low member for UTA, but maybe he's holding this close, grabs it easily, and it will be another round.
I think we can confidently say, no matter what league you're playing in, be it VCT or Iron, every jet play is either a VCT play or a bronze play.
I'll give you. I won't say every single one, because there's some where you get like one trade and that's fine, and I'm like, okay, I'll accept it. But it was more so Krad back-to-back rounds just being like, I'm going in. I'm going in. I'm thirsty for blood. Like that kind of mentality, I get it. But you're not playing Reyna. That's the mentality for Reyna, not for Jet. Jet is the...
It seems like Krad is on the right path. So do it once again.
He's still going. He's still
the
going.
definition of insanity is right here. Keep doing the same thing again, and you're expecting different outcomes. This far, he has expected a different outcome. He survived. So
and he's gotten
pretty
different
good on him.
Somehow. Oh, this is insanity, Krad. I love watching you play, man. Don't change. Like, if you watch this back and you see this bit, know that it is all out of just me being like, dude, you are so much fun to watch. I don't want to see you die at the start of a round. As we are going to see the Great Divide dropped, this is going to be the trigger for the B site.
Oh, Galaxy Vortex, it's all up to him here. He only finds one. Only Dalloway takes him down immediately. The KJ diff comes to fruition. Peak. And go red B main, Macha. Can he come in clutch here? We got 3 of the players pushing in towards B main here, and if you're gonna be peeking them like that, Peak is gonna be taking down all 3 of you. Unfortunately, he only finds 1, maybe takes him down. Arlington in a 2v3, and it seems like a save might just be the way to go here. As we see Rain and maybe backing off. Would they push again? I don't think so, and I don't feel like that's the right idea.
This is exits. And Praetorium gonna very smartly sneak around. Roomba does get spotted, but that's the risk of playing for exits is, of course, you're opening the door for your opponents to try and do the same to you. Fortunate for UTA, they are gonna hold on to their operator, so not losing that major investment, but Hawaii clawing one back, keeping this game interesting, and certainly showing that they have more than meets the eye. And full rifles, except for on to peak on that Judge with the Blade Storm, so will be effectively a rifle round for Hawaii. And Arlington, also a little scrappy. 2 LMGs, the Odin and the Ares, don't see those on the map at the same time very often.
I wouldn't want to see an Odin on the map. Oh, there it is. Odin and the Ares coming,
Exactly,
Ares coming in
that's what I'm
from
saying.
Matcha, and I believe that was, man, I am blanking on the name here. Tasoa, yes.
Yes, for UTA, Matcha. Yeah, so Matcha and Rain, I believe.
Yes, it is Rain. There we go.
Oh, and Vortex, what a good start to take down Dalloway. And there wasn't much space taken, so fortunate for them, but on to peak, he's in close quarters. He's got the Judge. Where's the timing on to Crad? He's stepping up.
Oh,
no.
Unfortunate. Crad takes him down. He's out for blood. He's taking down the second man as well. Can he get the third? Yes, he can. Looking for the fourth here. But Galaxy Vortex is there to save the day, and UT Arlington are going to hit 8-11.
Like, see what happens when Crad stays alive? He pops off, and it's insanity. Like, just don't... Like, I get diving in every now and again. You gotta change the tempo. You gotta keep your opponents on their toes. I get it. You can also keep them on their toes by doing stuff like that. And continuing to run up the score. It's a pretty big round to lose. It's a reset for Hawaii. And now with this really awkward economic state, they're gonna have to take a timeout. At this point, you can get 3 rifles, you can get some armor and a sheriff on your other players. That can play kind of like a gun round if you play front to back on a straightforward execute, just because one of your rifles dies, someone picks it up. It's just like Russia in World War I. You have more guns than you do people, and you just pick them up as someone dies. But I'm not sure if that's sustainable or if it's the right answer here, because then you're playing for 11 as opposed to trying to play for the tie.
That's a pretty interesting analogy there. We went straight to World War I.
It's true. It happened. It actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I agree. This is interesting.
I was a history major. What do you want from me?
Man, that got grim real quickly.
Just read books about grim things that happen. That's the major, dude.
Oh, yeah.
STEM, computer programming, stuff that's going to build the future. Field. I don't care about that. Let me read some books.
2 sides of a man.
Exactly. Like, I did some STEM in high school, took AP Bio, got a 3 on that, so I didn't have to take a science credit when I got to university. That was nice. I'm sure some people in chat are still there with me. If there's any IB guys, let me know if you're just as... if college is as easy as you thought it would be, or if it's tougher, who knows? We'll find out. But Crad, certainly easy. Pickens to start, 1 for 1. And seems like that's going to be it so far. Rain just using that flash to escape.
Seems like University of Hawaii are just going to be forcing this issue here. Praetorium going to be the lone and wolf pushing in towards short, taken down. Dalloway finds one. Rain gets one with a molly. And finding yet another. Ego gets one. Iger rather gets one before being taken down. And Arlington are now only 1 round away from taking this game as well as the series.
I'm not going to say I'm surprised we're in this position, because of course that was my prediction. And I'm like, I want my predictions to be right, but I also want Hawaii to keep going because I believe in this team. I remember first time after I watched them, On to Peak was like, I'm not an op crutch, but it is my best gun. And ever since then, I've been a fan, because that's the kind of just straight up, like, I know what I am, but I don't want to say it, that I enjoy. And now Crad running it back, running it down, but this time he's got the breach behind him, gets 2, or just gets 1. Could have gotten 2. There's number 2, 3,
and that's 3.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, Matcha takes away the ace. Opportunity.
Oh wow, Dalawai still spotted it, and it's Rain pushing in first. The flash goes out. Dalawai might just find one here, and there he is, finding the second one. The third one isn't gonna come through, and Matcha with the Odin. So poetically takes the last man down. UT Arlington win the series 13-8, I believe was the scoreline both of the times.
Yeah, both games 13-8. They say consistency is key in UTA. Certainly sticking to that idea, but it was still a great round, a great half, great game from both teams. Of course, that end very explosive from Krad just running out. But I was very, very impressed by Hawaii really taking it to Arlington, showing that they are pretty competitive, that this top 10 isn't as far apart as that, top 7 versus next 7 really looked like initially. So I'm happy to see more of these teams that are near to the bottom half of the standings and the top half really taking that edge, but there is still that extra bit of oomph that you see in these top teams. The reason why Arlington is now 8-2, their ability to step up when needed, but also change up their play style. It's very well done, very fun to watch, very practiced, and I'm excited to see this team continue to grow.
Absolutely, and I believe we do have an interview waiting for us. We'll be right back after we set up the player that's coming in from, I believe it is UT Arlington. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have here in the booth with us, it is Maybe from UT Arlington. Maybe, how are you feeling about that best of 3 win?
We're not feeling particularly too great about it. I felt like we got a lot of rounds because we were kind of having a little fun with it. Always, you gotta have fun with it sometimes. But overall, feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask, 13-8 both times, and less convincing of a series than when we saw you guys up against Northern Arizona, who's a little higher in the standings, beat Hawaii last week. So you said that it was just because you guys were having a little bit of fun with it. Was that sort of moments where Krad was like stepping up and really wanting to engage, or was it just a couple points that you weren't quite as tight as you guys are in practice?
I don't think it was one person's fault.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever is one person's fault in
No, of
these
course.
series like this. But I think, we practice on Texas ping. We're not used to playing against 90 ping, not used to playing on 70 ping ourselves in Cali servers. So it was a little bit different, had to change up our game style a little bit. I know there was a couple times we got shot around corners on our screen, but server registered it. Oh well, tough luck. But it's just a play style thing because, again, that ping difference. And then again, we haven't scrimmed split yet, unfortunately. So we just had to come up. We've talked about split before. So thankfully we brought that one out home.
Yeah, it was really impressive taking your opponent's map to them. And I want to say that y'all's mid-half, in both times it felt like Hawaii was getting a little momentum. You guys would take a timeout or just take a little mental reset and then really steamroll the game. Was it just that you were trying to feel out what Hawaii was doing and then break it down? Or was it that you sometimes just need a moment to mental reset, say, hey, we got this, and go back to your roots?
I think it was more of a mental reset for us. Hawaii's, like, kudos to them. They're playing really well, but it's nothing we haven't faced in a scrim or another team in this EGF bracket. But other than that, like, it's just finding out where they are, stuff like that. I feel like we were overcoming a little bit, just trying to feel ourselves out versus them.
Makes sense. And I've just got one more. Again, earlier I wasn't meaning to throw any blame on Cry, because Cry's, I think, one of my favorite players to watch on you guys, how he is so much fun. What is it like to have someone who can just walk up, get a 3K, and walk out on your team, right? Like, just the ability to step up and do that.
I think having a player that's amazing. Whether he can play slow, fast, whatever we need him to play, his mental does not get shot, whether he gets 0 or 5 kills. He's a great player overall. Even if we fail on something, we try it over and over again. We don't change it up, and we just play like we play.
Well, you absolutely love to see it. Crad was probably the highlight player, along with the Ether at the start of this series. I'm not sure, Turbo, you were around. Both of these duelists were an absolute blast to watch, and this stream has been a blast to watch. But I'm not going to take too much of your time. Maybe, do you have anybody that you'd like to shout out to?
Just shout out the team, shout out all the support we have in the back, whether it be friends, family, loved ones, our director too, Noah. Thank you for all the support, and yeah, shout out to EGF. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Maybe thank you so much for coming in, and we hope to see you soon again next week.
Next time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that is it for the stream. We were supposed to have 4, I believe, but the third one got rescheduled, and we are here with the 4th one, which just got over. Turbo, this has been an absolute blast. I loved casting with you again, and hopefully we can get to do it again next week. Maybe some EGFS, EGFC as well. But once again, do be sure to drop us both follows on Twitter. I'm very close to 100 myself, 97 currently. So, Turbo, of course, Twitter at JTurbo, Flater at FlaterCast. But once again, thank you to Juke on production. Thank you to Juggle God for casting that first game. And thank you to EGFC for giving us this opportunity. We will see you next time.